In this episode I experienced some of the reasons for why the Banda Sea is among the most feared passages, claiming ships ever since the early days and still do. For me, this passage turned out to be the most expensive sail in my decades of sailing. Join me as I'm sailing around the world on Be Free, a Bavaria 55 cruiser. In the previous episode I prepared to leave Tual in a hurry, and it was absolutely not a good feeling because of both short-term and long-term weather predictions and prognosis. Indonesia do not have cyclones, but they do have other phenomena like monsoons and also function as an energy source for nearby cyclones. And right now I'm forced to go, even though I really do not feel comfortable with this. My goal is sailing to Timor-Leste, that shares Timor Island with Indonesia. Still, it's a different nation. The short route would be only 478 nautical miles. My route, however, will be significant longer, as I planned a huge detour that adds 703 nautical miles to my journey. In total, 1,181 nautical miles non-stop. Looking at the bigger picture, even with the wind gusts activated, I don't believe in these predictions. I'm pretty sure the predictions for this region is absolutely useless. The reason is none of the models takes the acceleration zone into the equation, and from my experience this close to the equator, even modern weather routing systems are just not good enough. Just as an example, the predictions are not capable of predicting the local phenomenon either. That's the northwest monsoons that's blasting through here at more than 50 knots only to spice up your sailing a bit. Mix all this together and you have a cocktail that might be the reason these waters are famous. And this is the main reason for me to go north on a huge detour. I'm not gonna bore you with much more about my preparing and the decisions behind my northern route. But there is one last important factor, that's the ocean currents. This can be pretty wild here, and as much as 5 knots contributing to some wild seas as a finishing touch to it all. I'm not even out of the channel and already getting some hints about what to expect. I can even see the front systems lined up pretty well. And most of them will pass south of me, but I will have to fight my way through the first acceleration zone, which also is on top of the deepest ocean I ever sailed. With its 7,000 meters depth, is one of the deepest in the world. For now I have lashed down my mainsail as I expect at least 50 knots and even more the next 30 hours. I still haven't put in the reef lines because it was too windy in Tual when I put my mainsail back on. As I'm pointing north I can see the weather systems west of me, well aware of what's waiting, and that is something I soon will have to deal with. But I feel I have a good strategy, and also it's now or in 2 weeks later. So believe it or not, this is kind of a weather window, yet I would prefer to stay. But the visa has expired and the rules here are pretty strict, to say it a bit carefully. Unauthorized stopover on my way is out of the question, as illegal stop, if busted, can result in a confiscation of my yacht. I know some sailors challenge their faith making stops before or after being here legally. I can assure you that's not a very good idea. You might lose your yacht. Banda Sea is dangerous waters, and I'm 6 to 8 weeks too early for this passage. The best time to cross the Banda Sea is between monsoon seasons. That also includes changes in the direction of ocean currents. The northwest monsoon season is also the rainy season, maybe the most unstable season with lots of thunderstorms. From mid-May to early June is when the southeast monsoon season starts. This might be the season that brings the biggest waves and also some rough conditions as well. So if you want to play it super safe, the best time is in a very short time frame during the transition between the seasons. I would say this is among the biggest challenges sailing around here. I am prepared and are sailing very conservative here. Also about to furl my Genoa in a bit because I'm very close to where I know it's gonna be rough. This is just as expected, and I know it's going to be like this throughout the night, even though both predict wind and Windy claims it to only be max wind gusts 19 knots. So I prepared food and coffee on the thermos to battle this. Being prepared and having this passage well planned might be a bit of an understatement. I always try to identify the busiest traffic lines, as this is quite important when sailing solo. In addition to earlier mentioned wind and ocean currents, what comes with the cyclones is major thunderstorms. And this I really wanted to stay away from. Interesting enough, this is quite accurate on Windy. The reason for planning my route going so far towards west before going south is not only to have more favorable wind, it's also a better angle to handle the monsoons when they are blasting through from west-northwest. And at the final stage of this route, compensate for the strong ocean current, as I know I will be pushed east while sailing south. Sailing in Asia in general is a challenge, not only because of all the fishing vessels and lost fishing gears, but even commercial ships seems to not know about the international rules and regulations. And this ship showed extremely poor seamanship, as I had to start my engine not to be run over. I'm starboard ship and under sail in open waters. I tried to hail on the VHF, but with no response. This made me wonder if I was not visual on the AIS and if my VHF was having some issues. So the first ship within my range I would try to find out and have these things checked. Okay, so you cannot see me on your screen because it's something with your AIS. Is that correct, sir?
Correct, sir. My AIS is a little bit error, so I cannot see your vessel position. Over.
Okay, copy that. I just wanted to check because I had a tanker last night that almost ran me over, so I was worried if my AIS was not transponding, but okay, then we don't know yet. Thank you so much for responding.
Okay, sir, you're welcome. 16 standby again.
So even this 150 meter long commercial ship do not have their navigation equipment in working order. Not exactly comforting to have the rumors confirmed. In these waters, safety is not exactly a priority. What we just have been witnessing is one of the reasons I always stay awake at night. But the challenge has been to get enough rest during the day, as the rapidly shifting weather with violent storms have been a bit challenging. But so far it looks like my strategy have worked, as I'm about to reach calmer waters and at least what I expect to be slightly less unstable. One of the things that never stops to impress me with B3 is how well she points and how fast she sails even with the Genoa only. I'm trying to run away from this. I'm going north, and as you can see, there's less front systems in the north. It's like a machine gun of storms, just boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's gonna be a strong one. And it goes from east to from west to east. I had to pass this, sail through this weather system to be able to sail north. I'm actually taking a huge detour. I'm sailing north up to Ambon to take cover because yeah, the weather is nuts. And you don't want to be in the path of this train of high octane petrol for the cyclone, because that's basically just a series of violent storms and small hurricane force storms. It's nuts, and that's what I've been fighting my way through, and it's not been pleasant. It's really hardcore. But now I'm doing pretty okay. I'm managed to get some speed again. I'm about right now 6, but I've been 7.5, 8, 9. I'm still sailing very conservative with my sails because the wind gust comes from nowhere, like boom, and you have 50, 55, 60 knots. And I even peaked on 65. I have a computer that tracks all the wind and presented me for as a graphical presentation, and shows me all the peaks and the average and everything. So it's not like imaginary wind speeds, it's actually data. And in front of me it looks good. Looking at almost blue sky and thinking I'm out of the worst now. A wall of wind that travels at 120 km per hour or even more just slapped my face so hard. Falling off from the wind to west would send me straight into worse weather, and because of the ocean currents, falling off 35 to 40 degrees to east will send me back to start very fast. So thankfully I do have a powerful engine and the capacity to just continue by engine and just ride this one off. But 60 to 65 knots of wind on my nose is no joke. These storms, that's monsoon storms, only last for an hour or 3, so it's actually worth the fight to just keep going straight into it by engine. The interesting part with this is as soon as it's over, I will have my wind back again from west and not straight on my nose from northwest. it's my third violent storm in 2 days. Today's been absolutely nuts. So the peak just a few minutes ago was 65 knots. 65! That's seriously nothing you want to experience. Sorry. It's now it looks like the sea is coming down a little bit, but I tell you, you guys watching this is not a YouTube storm. This is serious shit.
B3 is a big boat, and I have, as a joke earlier, said for me to be able to make things look terrible, I would need a cyclone. I'm still not sure if I'm able to really share the impression, but it's actually quite rough and only 3 knots away from being a cyclone or hurricane force wind. Wind and waves are coming down again, and soon I'm in the shade of Ambon. My plan is to just go slow and wait out the weather for a day or two before starting on my journey southwest.
I think it's time to maybe try the mainsail. It's blue sky and no dangerous clouds.
I'm now in the shade of Ambon, with almost flat waters and not even enough wind to sail. So it's an opportunity to get my mainsail up, as it needs to be hoisted fully up and then drop down again. And then I will add the reef lines on my third reef. This is the sail I stitched and repaired in Tual, and it's not perfect but doesn't look too bad either. Now it's time to get it down and have the reef lines in place, as it was no time and conditions to do anything with this in Tual. It was basically just too much wind there. And with reef 3 in place, I believed I was sailing ultra conservative, but then
sailing in cyclone force wind is just no fun. So I have quite a lot to sort out here now. So my mainsail is ripped apart, and I have some damages to my Genoa as well. Yeah, I have stowed away the Bimini, but still the wind just took and shredded to pieces.
this is after I took a full knockdown in 72 knots of wind. That's Gale Force 12 on the Beaufort scale, and the most intense wind lasted for 1 hour. No time for selfies or YouTube drama. This was all about damage control. Only to put things in a bit perspective, the wind speed that hit me was at the same force that Hurricane Katrina had when hitting Florida in 2006. A Category 1 hurricane. This comes so fast from nowhere. It's definitely a new storm coming. The question is how strong it's gonna be. This also come from nowhere, just like boom, black, and I guess it's here in just a few minutes. It's nuts. And it's moving fast. So when it travels this fast, it means it's a lot of wind. And it's nuts, like this. See? And it transforms to this, like boom. It looks like another small hurricane that's gonna slap my face hard. I'm starting to run out of sails and take no risk now. A bit softer start on this one, and interesting enough, it's very visual how this storm changed the wind direction. It's on its way down again, and yeah, it was 60 knots. So the cloud that I was like, okay, no way. I just furl in my sail and I start up the engine. That was a very good choice. I mean, you can fool me once, but not twice. And 60 knots. And it's supposed to, I mean, I don't want to bother about the weather prediction, but it's like normally the big picture, look around, and also for several days the weather prediction has pointed out in the shade of Ambon, it should be very light winds. Yeah, not true. So predict wind and windy, get your shit together, because this is just not good enough. Whoa! Some of these waves are pretty big. It's like a roller coaster. Oh man. Our video does not justify. And as I said, the wind has come down now. It's just around, I don't know, 25. Yeah, 25 knots. So it's not much wind, but still a lot of waves. So yeah, everything is actually okay. I mean, if I had like new strong sails, I think actually I would manage to get them in, and I would still be probably sailing, but with the worn out, old, blown out sails I have, they rip apart for nothing. Same with my Bimini. I mean, that was really not much left of that anyway, but it did its job to protect me and give me shade. And now I also have to stitch a little bit on my spray hood. So yeah, it's always something. Makes this small piece of teak that a lot of your viewers are annoyed about, it comes very long down on the list. I have a lot of other stuff to deal with. Starting to run out of sails. This mainsail is toast. It's like as you can see, I have cleaned up. I removed what was left of my Bimini, and been tidying up the boat a little bit. It was a moment where it was not so much wind, and funny enough, where I am at the moment, it's supposed to be like 4 knots wind, basically like no wind at all. I'm not complaining. I mean, this is not a storm, and it gives me speed forward. And I'm actually sailing 6 knots now on my Genoa only. I think it's not many normal sailors that's been out in Beaufort 12 on the scale. That's hurricane force wind. And it was never a single moment I felt worried or afraid, but only concerned about the costs, because my sails and my canvas and this easy but expensive replaceable things is what was about my concern. Man, it's been a crazy sail, but now I'm really enjoying it. It's beautiful weather, and I'm making good progress, so I hope this will last. So the sail from Tual to Dili should normally be like a 2-3 days sail, not more than I think 400 nautical miles or so, 390, 400 nautical miles. I don't remember exactly because I made a totally different route. Yeah, we'll get some wind, it's pretty sure. I'm right now only 14 knots, but what I can see in the clouds here is I will soon have at least
I don't have much sail up, but I'm still doing 8.5 knots. That's good. And I'm now pointing more towards southwest. And I think the cyclones, especially the one that's in the Indian Ocean, is now moving, which means the interference will be less significant. It will still be a lot of wind for sure, so I'm pointing much more towards west, and it was a good strategy coming in from north, because if I manage to keep this southwest course, I will, before I dip straight south where the strong wind comes from west, I will have a very smooth sail down to Dili. So yeah, it looks like it was a good strategy. But man, this has been wild. I did not expect it. I mean, yeah, well, I did expect it to be pretty rough, but not like ridiculous crazy wild as this. But yeah, it is what it is. And now it's pretty smooth. It's just around 28-30 knots, so it's okay. If it stays like this, I will be in Dili in just 2 days. So fingers crossed. If I can keep 7.5 to 8 knots, I'm very happy. And it's just with this tiny reef down Genoa. So it's pretty impressive. I'm basically getting nowhere right now. I had to start up the engine because I got a storm coming in, and it's a thunderstorm. I was having such a good progress, and I was expecting a little challenge when I get closer here because of currents and change in wind direction. And I have at the moment 3 knots ocean currents against me, and now 38 knots of wind, and it's just started. So I guess this is gonna be a wild night, the last night. What an adventure this sail has been. But I'm getting close. So I'm drifting outside Dili. I'm waiting for the sunrise, and it's just about to happen. It's such a small harbor, so I did not want to try to enter it in the dark. So I took a little power nap. So what I do when I'm in situations like this, I basically turn the boat, and I have sail up, and I make sure that if the boat starts moving, it will move offshore, not to shore. Because when you're so tired, I mean, luckily it has not happened yet, but it could happen. And that I snooze or oversleep, I don't hear the alarm clock or something, and then I don't want to wake up on shore. So when I'm just waiting like this, I always make sure to point offshore, not onshore. So my coffee is ready, and everything is basically ready, so I'm gonna start up the engine and see if we can. So it's so much plastic in the ocean all over here, so I always check the strainers before I start up. So that's something you really need to pay attention to here. It's like every time check the filters for plastic. So, but now Time to see if I can find the entrance and if I'm accepted to start the clearance. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but every island has its own smell. It's like the personality. And it's like anything from ganja in the Caribbean to flowers and fruits and spices. And this island is so intense. I mean, it's I could smell it. It's so weird because when you have been offshore for a while and when you get closer to the island, you can really smell the island when you get close. And here the smell is like spices. It's like the Old Spice perfume. It's really intense and really strong. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Also thank you for helping me growing this channel by subscribing. And remember to hit that notification bell not to miss my Southeast Asia adventure. A special thank you to all my amazing patrons, family and friends for helping. Much love from me on adventures with Be Free.